What was a life-changing mistake you made? Trusting the wrong person. I grew up very sheltered, naive, conservative, and too trusting of others. I was told by friends and acquaintances that I was too nice and that people would take advantage of that. Unfortunately, I had to learn this lesson the hard way. Fortunately, I made significant life changes to ensure that this wouldn't happen again. I got robbed the other day because I was too trusting. A guy came up to my door at night and said he was landlord's brother. While speaking to me, he commented about previous tenants, described them correctly, so nothing seemed weird. Asked me to clean the inside yard, IDK how to call that, basically a porch with a locked door, and asked me about my work hours, so he would come when it's convenient for me. The next day, when I came from work, I was shocked some valuable things were taken, but the door was locked. Kinda suspicious. I described him to the landlord, and, my luck, the guy seemed familiar. Turns out he was one of the past tenants, and he kept the key from the flat, but said he lost it. At the end he got caught, and my things are returned, and I got taught a lesson. I should have tried to get help for my mental health when I was suicidal, and not now, when I'm just messed up, because now I'm not sick enough to get help through the public system and I can't afford to get it through the private system. I can relate to this way too much. I was miserable, and I mean miserable, in high school. When I moved on to university it got better for a while, but then I was in that constant state of semi-miserable, no motivation, no passion, just kind of empty, and waiting to get worse again, so that I could. Well, my father is paying for my therapy, but I don't feel like it's helping any. I'm just frustrated and nothing is changing. I'm hoping it will get better. I wish you all the best. This is crazy. This comment basically describes my life right now. I was miserable in high school, but it turned around at uni. When I was busy with my first degree everything was great, and I was motivated. Now I'm post-grad, and I'm at the kind of empty feeling, waiting for everything to get worse. Taking a job to save my family. Now I'm dying, and I need a surgery I can't afford but no one will help me. Makes me wonder sometimes if I should have been selfish and miserable instead of giving and miserable. Is it possible to get the surgery and worry about the bill later? Don't take my word for it, but perhaps surgery then bankruptcy is a tenable solution. Dying is not. Nope. The surgery costs $25k and you gotta pay before services are ended. Is it possible to get a loan which would then be subject to bankruptcy? I feel like there is a good chance of an achievable solution here. Please do research. If you don't know where to start, a local librarian very well might. They excel at broad research and deal with a lot of people with a lot of problems. There are government and private programs, there are legal maneuvers, etc. I'm not qualified to help much, but there are steps to be taken. $25k is a significant amount of money, but often an obtainable amount. Telling how I felt to my best friend, she didn't feel the same way, and from there it went badly, mainly because of how I handled the situation. Lost one of the most important people in my life that day. How did you handle it? How could you handle it different to have saved your friendship if you had a second chance? Not the commenter you responded to, but in general, I think it's best to approach it as a more would you be interested in trying to date, instead of this huge confession of love. Honestly dude, this isn't a mistake. Maybe you could have handled it better, but it's no good being close friends with someone if you secretly want more. It's incredibly dishonest. If she didn't feel the same way it always would have come to this. And if you kept harboring secret feelings without telling her it would have manifested in strange and bizarre ways later. This is the outcome that had to happen for you to move on. You took your shot. It doesn't always work out, but at least you were honest. In the mid-2000s I used to work a call center job while finishing up uni. It was a startup fintech type job. People got promoted quickly and they paid above minimum wage. But I was naive and didn't realize how backstabby some people could be to get ahead. I carpooled with who I thought was a friend until he started secretly recording our conversations in the car to curry favor with my managers. Thinking I was safe I was honest about my feelings about certain things at work and sure enough he played the recordings to my bosses and soon after I noticed a change in how I was being treated. They let me go with severance when I caught onto the fact that I was being asked to train my replacement. This led to about 10 months of unemployment with employment insurance and me finding a much better paying job. It was a blow, but I learned from it, and I'm glad I'm not stuck in what is ultimately a dead-end call center job, no matter how they spin job titles. Telling Oz the truth about smoking during top-level gov security clearance and getting my offer revoked. They could have found out anyway, and then I'll be on the hook for smoking and perjury. Not true. You can't be perjured for answers during a clearance investigation. It's a felony to lie on the SF-86, the forms used for your investigation. It's not perjury per se, but it falls into the same criminal category. I look over these forms for a living, yeah right. Every statement in the SF-86, SF-85, and SF-85P has to be true, or else not only would you be denied your clearance, but they could come after to you. You basically have to swear to tell the truth. This includes fines over 150, foreign contacts, debt foreclosure liens, drug use, and reasons why you were let go at your employment. Dating someone who was incredibly toxic for way too long. I don't regret it, though. It taught me a lot about what not to do, and how to make sure I'm doing what's best for myself. Did it for 3 years, got out last year. Haven't had a day full of worry, anxiety, or even feeling all that down since. Really makes you realize things weren't good. Hindsight, for ya. Exactly. It's insanely hard to see red flags when you have someone convincing you they aren't there. But once that person is out of the picture, the flags become way more obvious. Cheers for realizing it and improving your life. It's been a long road to improvement. Self-medicating didn't help, but I've cut that down considerably. But as of the beginning of the month I now own my first place, always rented before, new job, and things are looking brighter. Not starting to take university serious until I failed and had to start a new course. Luckily I'm almost done with this one. On the same boat right now. Any advice? Start studying all throughout the entire semester. If that doesn't work, at least go to the library for 1 or 2 days a week and take nothing with you except for learning materials, or set up a study group. Look over the materials and start summarizing the materials before you start learning. Could not be your favorite method of learning, but it worked for me. Also start talking to people in your courses, so you have some people that can give you their materials if you can't go to the lecture. And don't let yourself get influenced by other people when it comes to learning. Go at your own pace and figure out how fast you can get through the materials. Hope that helped you. Cigarette? Yeah man, why not? I smoked for a little over 20 years and man was it hard to quit, especially because I enjoyed it. I was finally able to kick the habit 4 years back and now I feel much better. I still get cravings from time to time, but I'll never go back. Don't stop trying. I quit about 5 months ago, kinda. I haven't had one sober since. It's when I'm drinking I just have to have one. I have absolutely no desire to smoke until I have a beer, and then suddenly I'm chain smoking. It was like that with me as well. They just go hand in hand together. Back when I frequented bars, it would be nothing for me to puff through 2 packs in a night and wake up with my mouth tasting like campfire. Yeah, smoking is like a hangover amplifier too. Eating my feelings when depressed during most of college without also exercising. When the freshman 15 turns into the senior 60. This but unironically lol. I would gained weight anyway, because I was a beanpole, but the depression turned it way worse. How did you stop emotionally eating? I've struggled with depression since puberty, but always was really good with diet and exercise, in great shape. Something happened when I was 25, and I've been emotionally eating ever since, and stopped working out. It baffles me, because I never used food for comfort before, but now it almost feels like an addiction and I can't stop. It's the only thing that makes me feel better, but I'm destroying my body that I once had total control over. I bought a Wii. I had just gotten a CR card for the first time, and thought I could pay it off in 2 months. Reasonably though, I could have, but things didn't work out that way. Next month I had to get a new car battery and replace a few parts, eating up what should have gone to paying the rest off. Things got worse from there. I had to leave my job to be able to graduate college, then couldn't find a job for 8 months, and living off of scraps a month, and having to put more and more on a CR card. It didn't get any better for a while. More things happened. I moved 3 times within a year, and now it's 4 years later. I'm just now starting to feel like I'm secure again. TL. Dr. CR card debt is bad. Don't do it. Not texting my boyfriend later that Thursday after an argument. I was mad and didn't want to speak to him. When I finally texted him on Saturday, he had already been dead for 24 hours. I wish I had told him I loved him. Everyone says it's not my fault, but I will never know. If I had reached out earlier, whether that might have been enough to stop him. I'm never ignoring someone I love because of a petty argument ever again. I'm so sorry for your loss. Thank you for reminding us how important it is for our loved ones to hear that we love them. If it's any consolation, as someone who was on the suicidal end of things, there was nothing you could have done. If it hadn't happened then, it would have happened soon. I'm very sorry you went through that. Breaking up with a girl I dated in college. I thought it wasn't working. Turns out she found out she had some serious medical stuff going on that she just didn't want to burden me with. I thought she was just getting distant because she was disinterested. Found out years later. Turns out she actually really liked me, and, for various reasons I won't go into here, we were perfect for one another according to some mutual friends. She's went on to get the medical stuff fixed managed. Unfortunately also fell into drugs and alcohol abuse, and is no longer in a good place. Wish I'd have stayed and helped her through it all. There's no guarantee you could have helped her. She may have just drug you down with her. Don't what if yourself into a guilt trip. Getting hung up on an ex. We dated and it ended amiably. We were in each other's orbit for a long time, and I thought maybe I need to make another try. And tried being the friend who really showed care and kindness to see if there was a response. Her birthday came up, and I bought a large expensive cake for the party, and on the way there, realized how ridiculous I was being, and decided to just love her, like I did all my friends. I didn't try to insert myself into her conversations, sit by her at dinner, and because of that sat down next to an acquaintance I hadn't seen in some time. The acquaintance and I hit it off that night. We CR that party to us. Our oldest kid made 6 last week and our 10th wedding anniversary is in October.